Hello everyone, this is Kris from the IELTS School of Toronto and welcome to this video lesson. During this video lesson, we'll learn how to write the introduction of discussion essays. Before we do that, a brief introduction about myself. I am Kris and I teach for the IELTS School of Toronto. I teach IELTS preparation classes. I've got a PhD in English language teaching from the University of Aston in United Kingdom, and also I've got a diploma in English language teaching from University of Cambridge. I've taught IELTS for more than 20 years, for 25 years exactly, and currently I am teaching at the IELTS School of Toronto. First, before we talk about the how to write the introduction of a discussion essay, let us see the important numbers in IELTS writing. First of all, you need to write a minimum of 250 words in the essay. The recommended time is 40 minutes and 66% is the weighting of your mark. So task 2 is much more important. It weights for 66% of your IELTS band score. This is an example of an IELTS task 2. As you see, IELTS gives you a topic and then the instructions. It is very, very important to read the topic very carefully. Everything starts from here. And to do exactly what IELTS is asking you to do. Once you read the instructions carefully, it's a good idea to turn the statement into a question. So the first statement, this one here, turn it into a question. Read it for a minute and try to see how you can turn it into a question. So the statement is saying some people believe that there should be fixed punishment for each type of crimes. And you turn it into a question, should there be fixed punishment for each type of crime? And we need to do the same thing with the other statement. The other statement is saying others, however, argue that their circumstances and the motivation for committing a crime should always be taken into account when deciding on the punishment. And after reading this statement, again, you do need to turn it into a question. And the question, the essay question in this case is, why are circumstances and motivation important? Once you have clear questions like this, it will be very easy for you to come up with arguments. So another time, every essay starts with a clear question, and every essay is about coming up with arguments for a particular 1 or 2 or 3 questions, depending obviously on the essay. This essay, so the essay that is displayed, it's a typical discussion essay. The first statement introduces you to the first point of view, in this case, fixed punishment. And the second statement introduces you to the other point of view, the importance of motivation and circumstances for committing a crime. You do need to give 2 arguments for one view and 2 arguments for the other view, because your essay needs to be balanced. And at the bottom, you can see the instructions. In this case, the instructions are saying, discuss both these views and give your opinion, which means you do need to discuss each of these views, 2 arguments per each view in your body paragraphs before you give your opinion. Once you turn the statement, the IELTS statement, into a question, you do need to brainstorm. Brainstorming is very important. Obviously, it is very difficult to write an essay in your first language if you don't have ideas. And if it is difficult to write an essay in your first language without ideas, it's much more difficult to write an essay in a second language without ideas. That's why it's all right if you spend about 4 to 5 minutes understanding the essay question. So reading this carefully and understanding it, and turning the statement into a question, and then coming up with arguments. So why should there be fixed punishment? The reasons, the arguments are not important in IELTS. You can write anything you want as long as it is connected to the question, as long as it answers, as long as you give an answer to this question, it's all right. IELTS does not assess the arguments. The only thing that you need to do is clearly link your answers to the question. Some reasons. So fixed punishment, because a fixed punishment approach provides a simple system that can be used to punish criminals. Another reason, because a fixed punishment approach might lower the crime rate. Circumstances and motivation, why are they important? Because if we consider the motivation, if we take into consideration the motivation why a crime is committed, we can avoid unfair decisions. And another reason, circumstances can help understand better a particular case. So again, you do need 4 arguments, 2 arguments per each side, and each of these arguments will give you 1 body paragraph. So 1 body paragraph, the other body paragraph, lower the crime. This is the 3rd body paragraph and the 4th body paragraph. And once you've done this, turning the statement into a question, coming up with arguments, which is all right. If you spend up to 5 minutes on this, it is time to write the introduction. Writing the introduction is a straightforward thing. So basically, IELTS gives you 3 sentences here. The first sentence, the second sentence, the third sentence. All what you have to do is you need to paraphrase each of these sentences. So paraphrase this sentence, paraphrase this sentence, paraphrase this sentence. This is basically your introduction. Let's see now how we can paraphrase what IELTS gives us. You can paraphrase by using family words. We'll see in a minute what family words are. And using an object-subject transformation approach can also be useful. Again, we will see examples of how we can do each of these. Family words are words which are like teacher is the noun, teach is the verb, taught or teachable is the adjective. So words that share the same roots. Punishment is the noun. What is the verb for punishment? And punished is the adjective. Pollution is the noun. Can you think of the verb for pollution? Born is the noun. Birth. Beg your pardon, just born is the verb and birth is the noun. Parents is the noun, parenting is the verb, and parental is the adjective. Differ, the verb, difference, the noun, and different, the adjective. So this is the idea of family words, and this is the idea that we will use to write the introduction, to paraphrase the introduction, to paraphrase what IELTS gives us. So basically, this is the first sentence. This is what IELTS gives us. And here, we start by underlining the keywords. In this case, the keywords are punishment and crime, the most important keywords. Once you underline the keywords, can you think of a family word? Like punishment is a noun. What is the verb? Punish is the verb. crime is the noun. What is the adjective for crime? Criminal is the adjective. And the next thing to do is, how can you say the same thing by using family words? Can you fill in the gaps? You can start with the general sentence like it is commonly thought, it is a commonly held view, it is a commonly held belief, and so on. And then you can carry on that each kind, what is a crime? A crime is a criminal act, is a criminal behavior. So that each kind of a criminal act should be punished in the same way. So as you see, by using family words, the paraphrasing becomes quite easy. Again, we start, the very first thing that we need to do is we underline the keywords, we think of a family word for each of these keywords, and then we use a general phrase similar to this one here, and then we paraphrase by using the family words. So we paraphrase the first sentence of the introduction. We need to paraphrase the second sentence of the introduction. I'll give you a very brief moment to read the second sentence. Which are the most important words here? They are circumstances and motivation. After underlining the most important words, you can use a phrase like a sentence like this. However, there is another view which emphasizes the important role of, and just copy and paste the words that you underline. So in this case, the important role of circumstances and motivation in each crime. What happens in IELTS is, if you have a discussion essay, you are usually given 2 sentences, and each sentence introduces you to a point of view. The 2 points of view are very often opposing, are contradicting each other. In this case, we've got fixed punishment versus the importance of motivation and circumstances. And as we always have 2 opposing views, using a sentence like this, however, there is another view which emphasizes the important role of, and this is something that you can use with all the discussion essays. Simply memorize and use this sentence there. The only thing that you need to do, change the key words. In this case, circumstances and motivation. So we have paraphrased the first sentence, we've paraphrased the second sentence, and it's time now to paraphrase the third sentence, the instructions. IELTS is saying, discuss both these views and give your opinion. And I want you to take a very brief moment to think how you can paraphrase this sentence. All right? It can be paraphrased in different ways. One way that, again, you can memorize and you can use with all the discussion essays can be this. In this essay, both points of view will be discussed before conclusion is suggested. So again, what we've done so far, we have paraphrased the first sentence by using family words. We paraphrased the second sentence by memorizing half of the sentence, by memorizing this part. However, there is another view which emphasizes the important role of, and just put whatever the focus of the second sentence is here, and we have paraphrased the third sentence, this sentence here, by using a universal sentence that can be used with all the discussion essays. So it is okay to memorize and use this sentence in your discussion essays in IELTS. In this essay, both points of view will be discussed before conclusion is suggested. Let us now have some practice with another type of discussion essay. So this is what IELTS gives you. And as we already, so the introduction can be written in different ways. There is not only one way to write the introduction. And what we are seeing together is one of the many ways in which you can write the introduction. So after reading the essay carefully, we need to turn the first statement into a question, and we need to do the same thing with the second statement. And in this case, the questions, the essay questions are: should parents teach children how to be good members of society? Or, well, not should, but why should parents? Because you need to come up with arguments. You need to come up with because sentences. And the other question: why should schools teach children how to be good members of society? And once you have two very clear questions, again, very, very important not to add any new word, because by adding new word, you might change the meaning of the sentence. Just use the words that IELTS gives you here. And once you have two questions, not very good questions, but questions that are based on what IELTS gives you, you need to come up with arguments. Why should parents teach children how to be good members of society? Because children have better relationship with their parents, and a better relationship can lead to better learning. This can be one argument. And another argument can be because parents who are respectful members of society can be role models for their children. And when it comes to school teaching, one reason can be schools represent the outside world more closely, meaning you are more likely to be bullied in a school than at home. And schools offer professional sources of teaching. So a two-view essay, two questions which are clearly linked to what IELTS asks you. And for each question, you need to come up with two arguments. These two arguments will give you 4 body paragraphs. Do this before you start writing. It is essential, very, very important. And it is okay to spend up to 5 minutes to understand the focus of the essay and to come up with ideas. Now that we've done that, let's see how we can write the introduction by paraphrasing, by using family words. So this is the first sentence of the IELTS. The keywords are parents, teach, and good members of society. Parents is a noun. The adjective for parents is parental. Teach is a verb. It can be teaching or it can be taught. And good members of society, as you see, this keyword has got 3 words, good members of society. If you've got keywords with more than one word, it's enough just to change one of these, like good or members of society. Something like well-behaving members of society. You do not need to change all 3 of them. Instead of good members of society, I am saying good citizens. I'm paraphrasing by saying good citizens. And once we've done that, once we have underlined the keywords and written the family words, I want you to fill in the gaps. In this case, it is commonly thought that good citizens are a result of parental teaching. Again, this is only one way of paraphrasing. You can paraphrase in different ways. Just find the way that works best for you. If you find this way easy, follow it. Once we've paraphrased the first sentence, we need to paraphrase the second sentence. Before we do that, we need to underline the focus of the second sentence. In this case, the focus of the second sentence is school. So again, we have 2 opposing views. One view says parents are important to teach children how to be good members of society, and the other view says schools are important. So, following the same way, we use this sentence, which is kind of a sentence that you can memorize and you can use with every discussion essay. And the sentence goes, however, there is another view which emphasizes the important role of schools in this process. And we have written the first two sentences of the introductions. What we need to do right now is paraphrase the third sentence, which is the thesis statement of your introduction. You can paraphrase it in different ways, or you can memorize this sentence. In this essay, both points of view will be considered before a conclusion is suggested. A summary of the things that we saw together: how to write the introduction of discussion essays. First of all, start with a general phrase, something like it is commonly thought, it is commonly believed, it is a commonly held belief, and so on. There are many other similar expressions. After that, the subject. So if you go back here, the last part of the IELTS sentence becomes actually the subject of your sentence. So it is commonly thought that this is the last part. Then you just put it in here, that good citizens are a result of parental teaching. So switching the position, playing with the position, can be one way of writing the introduction. So turn the object of the question into a subject and underline the keywords and think of family words for these keywords. Things that we need together, such as punishment, for example, punishment goes to punish, and so on. Mention the other point of view. You can use the sentence, half of the sentence that we saw together, which was, it is, however, let's go back and let's see how the sentence goes. Yeah. However, there is another view which emphasizes the important roles of, and just put the focus of the second sentence here. And don't forget the thesis statement. The thesis statement is very important, and to write the thesis statement, all what you need to do is paraphrase the instructions. In this case, the instructions are saying discuss both these views and give your opinion. And what we've got here another time is a summary of the steps to follow to write the opinion of a discussion essay. This brings us to the very end of this video lesson. And again, I teach IELTS preparation classes at the IELTS School of Toronto. There are IELTS classes starting every Monday. Please get in touch with us. We also teach online IELTS classes.